Hello everyone. I thought it was really important to really make this service complete, to come out to the pond today, a place that was so special to my mom for so many reasons, a place that I have so many great memories with my mom and my dad and the dogs. And often we would come out and feed the fish or just walk around and just talk, and it was really just the best moments of life. So I wanted to start today by sharing a few things of my mom's. First of all, you've got a peony here that I just picked from the back of the pond. She's really loved peonies. She really loved all plants, all flowers, but particularly this season was really special to her because of the peony festival and the peonies popping out and all of her flowers kind of coming about, and that sense of renewal was really important to her. Mom had many hopes for my life after she was gone, and we talked about many of those. But on a smaller scale, she was really hopeful that I could keep track of her Christmas trees and her tea tins and her blue glassware and her collection of bears. And she loved all these. I think it all reminded her of the places she had been, particularly the people that had given her those things. And so those things were very special to her, and I will try to keep track of those the best I can and pass those on to family to come. And also, I should share that this was my high chair that she was hopeful that would get some use later in life, that I had used, and perhaps someone in the family later on would use it. A few things that I I admire of my mom, that when she thought about Christianity and she taught that to me, that it was really important that come through in action, and that particularly that Christianity is at its core a message of love, and that we need to love one another. That was so important to her. I so admired her for being an advocate and a helper in terms of the elderly, particularly with my grandparents. She did so much for the McClarys and the Morgans in terms of my grandparents. She was a great advocate of the young, and a lot of her career was devoted to young people and helping them out and educating people. She was a great advocate and helper for the disadvantaged in any way possible, mentally, physically. She didn't care about differences of people, the differences that separate us. She thought we can argue, we can think about things, but ultimately we need to love one another. And that was such an important message for her and something that shaped my life greatly. Second, my mom was a lifelong learner and teacher. She always pushed herself and others, including myself and my dad, to think about new things, to think about other sides of things, to kind of have perspective, to be in somebody else's shoes. And that was really important to her. And I know that Dad and I appreciated that challenge greatly. She was always into the news. She was always up on the news, and that's something that was certainly passed on to me. She always had a Time magazine at the house, and also usually when she traveled, and that was something that I shared with her, and it would just become part of our conversation, and something as a social studies teacher and she as somebody who appreciated social studies so much that we really got into. When I would come home, almost always she would have a folder full of articles and quotes and things that she had cut out from the paper, things that were of local nature, state, international. She was really excited and interested to share that with me, and that really helped me out in the classroom as well. And it was just a token of her love. Finally, just even in our travel, in our vacations, Mom would often schedule trips to places of historical significance, to presidential libraries. You can imagine when I was very young, that seemed a little bit weird when other kids were doing any number of other things, that we were going to presidential libraries. But it was something that Dad and I looked forward to. We would always, be interested in what Mom was, kind of cooking up, and we would kind of, jump into it as well. And, later in life, that was just such a special thing for us. Finally, just as a few little points of my mom is how caring she was. When my dog passed away, Snuffy, around 2010, you know, it was kind of like losing a part of the family. And she got me this magnet, and it said, "Oh, to live in a leash-free world." And it said on the back that Snuffy had made it. And I often think about this and think about Mom as that she has made it, and my dad has made it. And that's very inspirational to me. I also think about how, just as a little token, that on the inside of our medicine cabinet, that Mom would put pictures and phrases and quotes that were very inspirational and fun little comics, and you know, just she did a lot of things like this that were not known to other people, but were just known to Dad and I, and we always appreciated her little efforts in all parts of life so much. That's truly who she was. She was such a great person in terms of keeping in contact with family and writing cards and making visits to people who couldn't get out and all those kinds of things. That was such a big part of her, who she was, and I greatly admire that. Finally, one story to share is that, as it turned out, the last night I was with Mom, she had sent me up to Van Wert to do things with the house, to put on a kind of oversee the ending of putting on a roof, and she had several projects she was very passionate about, and that also kind of speaks to the kind of person that she was, that despite all the troubles she had physically, she wanted to get certain things done, and that was really important to her because she knew how that would affect me, and she wanted things to be in good order. And even though she really encouraged me to come up for the weekend, she also really wanted me to come back, as it turned out, very late Sunday night, probably about 10 o'clock at night. She still wanted me to come to see her, and it was such a special moment because despite all the trouble she had me come down, and you know, I gave her a hug as I always did, and she just patted me on the back for the longest time, and it was such a special moment because that's truly who she was, that she would always take time, despite what was going on, to pat me on the back, to give me a hug, give my dad a hug, and that was always really special to us. Finally, as we go today, just for everybody, I want you to think about how my mom would always say to me or to my dad, or we would say to her, that she would always be sitting on our shoulder. And God would always be sitting on our shoulder. No matter what difficulty we faced, if I had a tough test, or something difficult at work, or my dad at work, or something difficult she faced, she started that phrase that she would be sitting on our shoulder and God would be sitting on our shoulder. So as you leave today, I want you to know that God is on our shoulder, and Mom is on our shoulder too. Thank you.